Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Representatives Baum, Campbell, Camper, Cochran, Faison, Garrett, Hawk, Hazelwood, Love, Moon, Shaw, Whitson, Williams, Chairman Hicks.
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. I'd like to call the Finance, Ways, and Means Subcommittee to order for March 29th, 2023. Members, are there any announcements or personal orders before we do begin? Seeing none, we do have a total of 39 bills on our calendar today, and so we are going to jump right into item number one. Item number one is House Bill 154 by Speaker Pro Tem Marsh, and he is here. All right. Sir, you have a motion and a second. You are recognized for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This legislation creates short and long-term incentives to convert a business to employee ownership. Instead of these retiring business owners selling to companies that would take jobs and revenue out of state, this bill creates an opportunity to create employee owners. It keeps jobs and money in our state. With that, I'll answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Speaker Marsh. Members, you've heard the description. Any discussion on House Bill 154? Chair Lady Hazelwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not a question, really. I just want to, I was in a committee that this came through beforehand, and I spoke then and said the same thing, but I want to commend Speaker Pro Tem Marsh for bringing this bill. I think it's a great way for employees in Tennessee to build wealth, to build retirement, and I know that he did this in his company, and I think he is obviously to be commended for that because it's a costly undertaking in order to make that happen. But this is a good bill to help companies who are looking for a transition to move to sell to employees versus, as the Speaker has said, from moving those jobs and that control out of state. So just thank you for bringing it, even though I do know that there's a financial issue. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
Chair
Chairman.
Lady. Speaker Marsh.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It is an excellent opportunity for people to create wealth for their employees and their employees to retire with a big fund of money that they spend it when they retire in Tennessee on trucks and cars and equipment that they stay here in our state. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Chairman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Speaker Marsh. I noticed that there's an exemption from business tax for minority-owned, women-owned, and I'm a life member of DAV, and extends to disabled veterans businesses also. And I think this is an additional part that makes this bill so valuable. Thank you, Mr. Sponsor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, further discussion. Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Speaker, for bringing this bill. Do you have any personal experience that you can share with us about how this would work or how it has benefited others that you know about?
Yes, ma'am. In 2009, my company became an ESOP. It's quite expensive up front to transfer your company into this. We probably spent $500,000 with legal and accounting people setting it up because it is very, it's under the Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor, and they check everything. So you got to do it really right to make sure the employees are protected. We have been very successful in it. In fact, about a month ago, our number one driver retired, and he had over $400,000 in his retirement plan that he didn't put a nickel of his own money in. So he's able to retire because we took care of him, and he took care of our company. So it's a joint ownership.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Further discussion. Seeing none, as it has been alluded to, House Bill 154 does have a cost associated with it. We will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 154 is behind the budget. All right, item number 2 on our calendars, House Bill 921 by Speaker Pro Tem Marsh. You do have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is brought to us by the Tennessee Municipal Electric Power Association. It increases the maximum amount in state law the manager of a municipal or county electric system or energy authority can purchase without board approval from $50,000 to $100,000. With that, I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Speaker Marsh, you've heard the description, any discussion on House Bill 921? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 921, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 921 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Speaker. Item number 3 on our calendar is going to be House Bill 1278 by Deputy Speaker Johnson. We have a motion to second. You have a motion to second. You recognize, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1278 lowers the minimum visual acuity requirements for drivers of non-commercial vehicles from 2040 to 2050.
All right. Members, you've heard the description and discussion. We are going to place House Bill 1278. We do have a special driver's license calendar, so we are going to place it on that calendar. But are there any questions at this moment for the sponsor? Seeing none, without objection, we're going to place House Bill 1278 on the driver's license calendar without objection. So moved. All right, that brings us to item number 4 on our calendar, also by Deputy Speaker Johnson, House Bill 905. You have a motion to second. You recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 905, I think there's an amendment that's traveling with the bill. Is that correct?
That
Mr.
is correct.
Chairman?
It is
And
correct.
this comes to me from the administrative offices of the court, and the comptroller's latest weighted caseload showed a need for some new judges. And what this bill does, it would add one new criminal court to District 13. It would add 2 new judgeships in District 19, 1 new circuit court in District 22, and 1 new circuit court in District 23.
All right, members, you've heard the description of House Bill 905. Any discussion? Chairman Williams.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker Johnson, for this bill. As you can see, I'm a co-prime sponsor of the bill. Also, I serve in the 13th Judicial District, and we have the studies have proven over the last 4 or 5 years that we're due, because of caseload, we're due in Putnam County. And so I know this does have fiscal note. I know it's going where it's going, but I just want to say how supportive I am of this and the other 4 judicial districts that it hopes to impact. Thank you.
All right, further discussion on House Bill 905. Hearing none and seeing none, as it has been alluded to, there is a cost associated with House Bill 905, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it a later day. So without objection, House Bill 905 goes behind the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Committee.
Speaker. All right, item number 5 on our calendar is House Bill 402 by Leader Lamberth. We have a motion second. Sir, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In my ongoing mission to try to have the most bills behind the budget this year, I have another one that is a driver's license bill. It increases the penalty for driving without a license and just mirrors it up with those that are driving a revoked license or suspended license and what the penalty is now for being a misdemeanor.
All right, thank you very much for this description. Members, any discussion on House Bill 402? Hearing none and seeing none. The sponsor stole my thunder, but it does have a cost associated with it, so we will have to place it behind the budget, consider it a later day. So without objection, House Bill 402 goes behind the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Leader.
I appreciate it, committee.
All right, item number 6 on our calendar is House Bill 485 by Chairman Boyd. You have a motion and a second. You are recognized on House Bill 485.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. In the summer of 2020 in Wilson County, there was an older couple, just pillars of our community, and they were stopped with their blinker on to turn into a friend's house, and they were rear-ended, killing Mr. Eddie Conrad and injuring Miss Jocelyn Conrad so bad that she spent months in the hospital in rehab before she came out. And her family has made it a mission of theirs to raise awareness of texting and driving. The driver that hit them was texting. And so this bill, otherwise known as the Eddie Conrad Act, would increase the points that a minor that is a repeat offender of texting and driving, it would add 7 points to their license. And so it only applies to minors, and it is a repeat offender. Mr. Chairman, I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you, Chairman Boyd. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 485. Any discussion? We are going to place House Bill 485 on a driver's license calendar that we will be taking up very shortly. So without objection, House Bill 485 will be moved to the driver's license calendar. So moved. Thank you,
Mr. Chairman, committee.
All right, item number 7 on our calendar is House Bill 391 by Chairman Sapicki. That's again House Bill 391. You're recognized, sir. You have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 391 is from last year. I want to give credit to TBR and THEC for working together, working with the governor's office. Basically, what it does is requires the Tennessee Board of Regents to develop and administer a 2-year pilot program beginning in academic year 23-24 for the purpose of awarding grants to students enrolled in non-degree workforce training programs identified by TBR. Some of those programs would be considered truck driving, certified nursing assistant, phlebotomy, certified production technician, heavy equipment operator, power line constructions, certified fiber optics, and CNC operators. These are short-term credentials that people can go to our community colleges for, come out and get real good, high-paying jobs. We're going to create a grant program to cover the cost of tuition and fees.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chairman Spiegel. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 391. Any discussion? Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman, for the bill. Are you trying to help with workforce development here? What are your major goals with this bill?
Great.
Go ahead, Chairman.
Great question. One of the things that we're going to do is economic development and labor workforce. We'll partner with TBR and give them TBR the flexibility because the workforce needs in Memphis are different than the ones in Murray County, different than the ones in Knoxville and Chattanooga. So to tailor programs are going to address the workforce needs in those areas to create these short-term credentials to get people into these high-paying jobs very quickly. That's the uniqueness of the bill that THEC and TBR has worked out with the governor, is to give each one the flexibility to identify the needs of their own district.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you see that with the possibility of the impact Ford is going to have on West Tennessee, that this could go to help to fulfill some of those jobs? Are we trying to look forward, thinking about that with respect to some of these certifications you're talking about?
Chairman speaking.
Absolutely. That TCAT center that we're going to be building out there at Blue Oval City, they would be work with Workforce and Ford to say, hey, what kind of skills do we need for our workers to work to get these jobs? One of the things and I'm living from Spring Hill and General Motors, one of the things we have to be very cautious of is when we bring these big manufacturers in and they open the doors, they have to have employees ready to go right now. And what I'm very cautious of is with like Blue Oval City is we don't want to repeat the things that we had in Spring Hill where we did not have the workforce ready and they brought people from all over the country to come take these jobs from Tennesseans. So this is trying to get ahead of that to make sure that we have that all lined up, ready to go. Blue Oval City will be a major contributor to this.
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the bill and the forethought around it, because one of the things that the community is asking us is, what are you doing to prepare for what's about to come? And we know it's coming. It's been in the news. It's going to happen. And how can we, as taxpaying citizens who dollars went to bring forward here, how can we benefit? How can we be prepared to participate in all the great things and the jobs and careers that gonna come out of this? So I appreciate it. Hopefully we can deal with it behind the budget, and it's something that we can make a priority for the state. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chair Lady Hazelwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the sponsor, I think one of the things that this bill would do, to the leader's point earlier, certainly it would allow the TCAT to focus on the jobs that are going to be needed by Ford and their suppliers. But I think it's upstream from that, in that this particular bill focuses on some short-term. We're going to need truck drivers. We're going to need heavy equipment operators to do the work to even get the building up and running. We're going to need construction people. So this is the kind of legislation that would put people to work immediately ahead of the, Blue Oval City is still down the road a bit, but these jobs are there right now. So again, I think it's a great bill and something that hopefully we'll be able to find funding for.
Chairman speaking.
Very quickly to piggyback on that, we are spending unprecedented amounts in infrastructure in Tennessee with TDOT. We're going to need people that can operate the heavy equipment like right now. Speaker Pro Tem Marsh operates a trucking business, right? We need CDL drivers to move the things across our country and across our state, very high-paying jobs. So we're trying to create an opportunity for people that they can pull down these scholarships to get these jobs very quickly to address the needs that Chairman has spoken of.
All right, further discussion. Again, we are on House Bill 391. Hearing none and seeing none, House Bill 391 does have a cost associated with it, so we will have to place it behind the budget, consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 391 goes behind the budget.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, that brings us to item number 8 on our calendar. Item number 8 is House Bill 191 by Chairman Holtzclaw. You have a motion and a second. And it looks like, let's see, Chairman, you've got an amendment 6054. Is that the
is
first
correct.
amendment? All right, let's get this amendment on. Do we have a motion and a second on the amendment? We have a motion and a second. Chairman, you want to get all the amendments on, then describe the bill? Would that?
Basically, it should have been all concluded as one.
Okay, we'll get these, we have these as separate, so we'll get these amendments together, if that's okay. Okay, there is only one amendment. We have a motion and a second. Let's get this on, then we'll discuss this one. So any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on Amendment 6054 on the House Bill 191. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The drafting code 6054 is on House Bill 191. All right, we're back on the bill as amended. You're recognized, sir.
Glad that all in one because it's 29 amendments. I don't think you want to go all through that. Pardon the voice, but HB 191 is a premier omnibus bill which identifies 29 unique locations across the state to serve alcoholic beverages on premise only. And that's what the bill does, sir.
All right, Chairman, thank you. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 191. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 191, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 191 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Chairman Committee.
All right, that moves us to item number 9. Item number 9 on our calendar is House Bill 137 by Chairman Howell. There he is. You have a motion and a second, sir. You are recognized. And I see that you have an amendment.
I do, sir.
All right, let's get the amendment on. I have drafting code 6739.
That's correct.
All right, you have a motion and a second. Let's get the amendment on, and then I'll let you describe the bill once we get the amendment on.
Okay.
Is that okay? All right, we have a motion second on the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, seeing none, we're now voting on drafting code 006739 on to House Bill 137. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back on the bill as amended, and you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Committee. This bill is the annual transportation omnibus bill for specially licensed plates. By adding this amendment, we have 39 total amendments that make up the bill. And I have that new amendment actually reduced the fiscal note and clarifies that revenue can use its current inventory before printing new tags that are covered under that amendment that we just added. So that's what the bill does.
All right, thank you, Chairman Howell. Chairman Howell, members, you've heard the description of House Bill 137. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 137, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 137 moves to full finance. Brings us to item number 10 on our calendar. Item number 10 on our calendar is House Bill 138, also by Chairman Howell. We have a motion and a second. You are recognized, and it looks like there's an amendment.
I do have an amendment.
Drafting code 006615. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, we have a motion second on the amendment. We have a motion to second. We're going to get the amendment on the bill. So is there any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, seeing none, we're now voting on drafting code 006615 on the House Bill 138. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back on the bill as amended. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This Bill 138 is the Transportation Omnibus Bill for the naming of roads and bridges. With this amendment that we just added, it a total of 54 amendments that make the bill.
All right. Thank you very much, members. You've heard the description of House Bill 138. Any discussion? Chairman Williams.
Thank you, Chairman, for this. I just had a quick question because I've never asked this before. I had an opportunity to look through all these different amendments. There used to be a chairman of this committee that would say you couldn't be on an alcohol omnibus bill unless your name was on it. I guess the question would be here, can someone name in your committee a bridge or a section of highway outside their district for someone?
Chairman?
That would be highly unusual.
Okay.
But
So-
it could happen.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Further discussion on House Bill 138. Question's been called. Any objection to calling the question? Hearing none, seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 138, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 138 moves to full finance.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chairman.
Chairman. All right, that brings us to item number 11. Item number 11 on our calendar is House Bill 312. There's Chair Lady. You have a motion to second. You are recognized on House Bill 312.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the Department of Children's Services Adoption, Modernization, and Parental Rights Bill.
All right, thank you very much. Members, you've heard the description. Any discussion? Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the bill. This bill is going to help with adoption to make it smoother, easier for families that's trying to adopt.
Chair Lady.
That's correct.
Leader Camper.
We're not trying to remove parental rights or anything like that. We just want to make sure that their rights are protected in how we deal with adoption, like if people don't want their name to be revealed and stuff like that. Is that addressed in this bill?
Chair Lady Littleton.
Well, for adoption, a lot of times the parental rights have to be removed. So this just tries to make it simpler and easier for all involved.
Yeah, that's my point. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Further discussion. Again, we're on House Bill 312. Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 312, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes do have it. House Bill 312 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Committee.
All right, we are on item number 12, House Bill 329 by Chair Lady Moody. I do have a request to roll this 1 week. So without objection, House Bill 329 rolled 1 week. That brings us to item number 13. Item number 13 on our calendar is House Bill 828 by Chairman Rudd. You have a motion second, sir. You're recognized.
Thank you. This is a similar bill that we passed in here last year. It was general subbed in the Senate, so it's moving again. It's become all more relevant. And again, this does not change any existing law. It simply states that we're going to put an 8.5 by 11 warning up at each precinct that if you cross over into the other person's primary, you could be breaking the law. We've always known that there was a Class C misdemeanor, and it's very hard to prove if someone is knowingly crossing over with an intention to come back. However, we found also that there is an obscure 1973 law that is a Class D felony, and that states the same as well, but no one's paid any attention to. What we've had recently is people on text and in mailers and on radio encouraging people to do this, and we now have our first prosecution in Middle Tennessee. I believe it's Wilson County, a Class D felony for doing this. So those people need to know, while they laughed off the Class C misdemeanor, now it's a Class D felony, they need some warning that they could be breaking law and it could be a serious offense. So this is just an effort to put a sign up at the precinct to warn them that there are serious consequences. And it's really to protect them so they don't do it. That's what this effort is.
All right, thank you, Chairman Rudd. Members, you've heard the description. Any discussion? House Bill 828. Hearing none and seeing none, there is a fiscal note associated with House Bill 828, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 828 goes behind the budget. Thank you, Chairman.
And should be a funding letter coming from the Secretary of State.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 14 on our calendar, and waiting patiently in the back is the Chairman of Champions, Chairman Vaughn. Champion of Chairmans. All right, let's move on. We're on House Bill 1503, and Chairman, I think you have an amendment, drafting code 006459.
That is indeed correct, sir.
All right, we have a motion and second on the amendment. We have a motion and second on the amendment. Let's see, do you want to get the amendment on, and then we'll let you two?
Yes, sir. It
Yep,
does
let's do
rewrite
that.
the bill.
All right, let's do that. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on drafting code 006459 onto House Bill 1503. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are back on the bill as amended, and Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. This is an example of what happens during the sausage-making process. We had a really great idea for an setting up our own independent dispute resolution for third-party surprise billing. Our friends in the neighborhood to the north decided in their Commerce Committee that they would prefer it to be a study for now, and so that's what we've done, is we've amended it to where we're now studying that process and keeping the federal dispute resolution process in place, and that removed the significant fiscal note on it. So we're here today to say we're going along with the gang, and we'll get us a study and see what happens.
All right, Chairman. Thank you very much. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1503. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1503, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1503 moves to full finance.
Thank you, sir. Y'all are fine Tennesseans doing great things for Tennessee, and we appreciate you.
Oh, my goodness. Item number 15. Item number 15 is House Bill 431 by Chairman White. The bar has been set high. You have a motion to second on House Bill 431, and it looks like you do have an amendment that rewrites the bill, drafting code 6586. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, let's get the amendment on. We have a motion second on the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on drafting code 006586 on the House Bill 431. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are back on the bill as amended. Sir, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you very much, committee. And my district overlaps with Chairman Vaughn's, but please don't hold that against me. I'm here before on House Bill 431, which is the aviation jet fuel sales tax cap. And what this does, it addresses Tennessee's economic competitiveness in aeronautics, aviation, and logistics, and puts us more in line with the tax structure, the jet fuel tax structure in our surrounding states of Georgia, Kentucky, and North Carolina. Now, we work very closely with the Department of Transportation and Finance, and they're very supportive of this, and we'll learn more about that as we go through session. But what this does is the jet fuels tax, this bill it's at $5 million cap right now. If this bill goes through, and next year it will go down to $3 million, and then with a cap of $1 million after that, which Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, they already have either nothing or a $1 million cap. And so we believe this will continue to support our aviation industry going forward.
All right, thank you, Chairman White. Members, you've heard the description. Any discussion on House Bill 431? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 431, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 431 will go behind the budget. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, committee.
All right, item number 16 on our calendars. Item number 16 is House Bill 580 by Representative Bricken. You have a motion and a second. You're recognized for a brief description, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. House Bill 580 simply just removes the professional privilege tax on attorneys in our state. And it was brought to me by my attorney friends to ask to run this bill. Frankly, I wish we would remove the professional privilege tax for all professions. With what I perceive as the financial health of our state, to leave this tax in place just seems just totally wrong. I'm surprised the Governor's Tennessee Works Act does not include the removal of this professional privilege tax. So with that, members, I look for your all support.
All right, thank you, Representative. Members, you've heard the description on House Bill 580. Any discussion? Leader, Garrett, I'm sorry. Chairman Garrett, I'm sorry.
Thank you for this, and I appreciate you bringing this piece of legislation. I do wish we could get rid of the entire folks that are subject to the privilege tax, but since yours applies just to attorneys, and I am one, I'm going to be voting present on this, so I just wanted you to be aware of that. So I didn't want anyone to think I didn't support the bill. I just don't want to vote on something that just applies to us. So,
all right. Any other discussion on House Bill 580? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 580, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later day. So without objection, House Bill 580 will go behind the budget.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 17 on our calendars, House Bill 1026 by Representative Butler. Here he comes. We have a motion to second. We have a motion to second. You're recognized, sir, for a brief description.
Thank you, committee. This bill was for TWRA to purchase some property in Cumberland, primarily in Cumberland County, 1,741 acres, using the wetland fund that is currently in TWRA's budget. So this piece of legislation simply allows them to use the funds that they already have to purchase this piece of property. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Representative. Thank you, Representative Butler. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1026. Any discussion? Chairman Williams.
And this mainly to the chair or to legal. So in this instance, when we're if we were to get a letter from the agency that they were willing to fund this with their own funds, would this bill not go behind the budget, similarly to where we do administration bills, or how does that work?
Yes, the bill would go behind the budget. You're correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, further discussion. Representative Butler?
That's an excellent question. So does it need to go behind the budget?
It does.
Okay.
Yep, it will. All right, further discussion on House Bill 1026. Hearing none and seeing none, as it has already been mentioned, there is a cost associated with House Bill 1026, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 1026 goes behind the budget. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, committee.
All right, item number 18, House Bill 632 by Representative Darby. We have a motion and a second. You have a motion and a second. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 632 authorizes Henry County to participate in a pilot project to use convenient voting centers for local and state elections.
All right. Thank you, Representative Darby. Members, any discussion on House Bill 632? Hearing none and seeing none, Leader Camper?
I was saying that's all right, Mr. Chairman. I think I saw it in the bill. It's permissive. You're not mandating anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Leader. Further discussion? All right. Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 632, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 632 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
All right. Item number 19 is going to be House Bill 759 by Representative Eldridge. Do we have a motion to second? Do we have a motion to second? You're recognized, sir, for a brief description on House Bill 759.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. This bill would require the Department of Children's Services to employ at least one attorney in each of the 12 DCS districts, and their primary role would be to file termination of parental rights of children in the custody of DCS. When the child's been there for 6 months, at least 6 months, the department will conduct a review to determine if the TPR is necessary. And then at DCS would, if it determines that it is necessary, they would have 60 days to file it.
Okay.
That's the explanation.
All right. Thank you, Representative Eldridge. Members, you've heard the description. Any discussion on House Bill 759? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 759, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 759 goes behind the budget.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
All right. Item number 20 on our calendar is House Bill 1085. And without objection, we're going to roll this to the Hill. So without objection, so moved. That brings us to item number 21. Item number 21 on our calendar is House Bill 425 by Representative Glenn. I saw him earlier. Without objection, we'll roll this to the Hill. So moved. All right. Item number 22 is going to be House Bill 1232 by Representative Hemmer. We have a motion to second. We have a motion to second. Sir, you're recognized for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was told that freshmen, at their first time at the Budget Finance Subcommittee, are supposed to go around and pass around a cup and ask for money. I wasn't sure if this was some kind of hazing ritual, but I wanted to be prepared.
Actually, you've got, well, never mind.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 1232 is purposes to allow private universities the same opportunity as public to create lab schools. Is in a framework to negotiate with LEAs. Lab schools are really good schools right now that are only available in public universities per the code, and we want to give private universities that are SAC accredited across the state the same opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Representative. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1232. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1232, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1232 moves to full finance.
Thank you, members of the committee.
All right. Item number 23 on our calendars, House Bill 747. I've got a request to roll this 1 week, so without objection, House Bill 747 is rolled 1 week. Brings us to item number 24. Item number 24 on our calendar is going to be Representative Slater. That's going to be House Bill 460. We have a motion and a second. You have a motion and a second, sir, and you're recognized for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee. This is a terminating custodial rights bill. What this does is that it adds offenses that will define severe child abuse. And this bill will help protect children from going back into a home where heinous crimes have been committed. And with that, I stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Representative Slater. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 460. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none. It does have a cost associated with House Bill 460, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 460 goes behind the budget.
Thank you.
Sir. All right, item number 25 on our calendar is House Bill 100 by Representative Stevens. Do we have a motion second? We've got a motion to second. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 100 removes the state portion of a litigation tax from adoption cases.
All right, thank you, Representative Stevens. Members, you have heard the description of House Bill 100. Any discussion? There is a cost associated with House Bill 100, but we will consider it at a later date. But until then, we will have to place it behind the budget. So without objection, House Bill 100 goes behind the budget. Thank you, sir. All right, item number 26 on our calendars, House Bill 33 by Representative Thompson. You got a motion and a second. You are recognized, sir, for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 33 deals with assessors of property and disasters and emergencies. And if I can just briefly explain this, it deals with, one, it establishes a framework in part of the bill, and then in the sections 3 and 4, it's permissive to each city and county. It deals with property tax reductions for loss of property for real and personal property when the property is restored before September 1 in the year of event. This would be a change in the current law. There has been some previous General Assemblies have established this for major disasters, and then the provision would sunset. Well, this would make the provision permanent, still permissive to local governments. And I'm glad to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, Representative. Members, you've heard the description. Any discussion? Chairman Williams.
Thank you. So, in the instance of my community, there was a March 3rd tornado. Millions of dollars of residences lost. It's my understanding that in the reevaluation of property, they were able to do a reduction based upon those that were not done. What would this bill do that doesn't allow for that before? I guess that's where I'm confused.
Okay, so under the current law, there's no reduction if the damaged property is restored by September 1 of any given year. And this would add a new section that would allow cities and counties to reduce taxes for the period of loss when it is restored before September 1. So it just adds a little bit more time. I'm not exactly sure what the situation was in your instance, but
Chairman Williams.
Thank you. It just seems unusual that we would reduce, if you rebuild your property on the property, it seems to me like in most instances, the insurance companies would provide for the rebuilding of that property. Therefore, it being a newer property, it would be worth more, not less. That's why I was just than its original current value, because even if it were 5 years old and not 25 years old, the actual value of the property would be more, not less. I guess that's where I'm lost, but look forward to talking to you about it going forward. But thank you very much.
Further discussion on House Bill 33. Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 33, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 33 moves on to full finance. If you'd like to be recorded as a no, please make sure the clerk sees you. All right. Item number 27 on our calendar is Representative Vital. I don't know if he is in. Okay. Without objection, we will roll House Bill 1144 to the Hill. Without objection, so moved. That brings us to Representative Wright, which is item number 28, House Bill 419. We have a motion and a second. You're recognized, sir, for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill, House Bill 419, deals with the collection fee on sales tax. State sales tax is 7%. Local option sales tax are 1.5 to 2.75%. Recent study has revealed that the State Department of Revenue is collecting about $50 million of a fee off of our part, the local part, which is 1.125%. The state's collecting $50 million, and a recent study has revealed that the collection expense is $14 million. This bill is directed at a more perfect distribution of sales taxes divided between the state and the local.
All right. Thank you, Representative Wright. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 419. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 419, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 419 goes behind the budget. Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman and committee.
All right. Item number 29 on our calendar is going to be House Bill 1129 by Leader Camper.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. This legislation is simply an extension of the car rental fee that's used to retire the debt for the FedEx Forum in Memphis. It only applies to rentals less than 31 days, and all the funds that's raised go to retire the debt on the Forum. It's a 2% surcharge on car rentals within Shelby County only, and it's been in place for about 24 years. And what we've done is extended it to 2059 as the end date for the surcharge that will go to help with the renovation and repaying that debt similarly from when we first created the FedEx Forum. I'd like to take a moment and thank the car rental industry who have agreed to this extension as long as we had a date in place to end it, and we do. And it is on the calendar, on the consent calendar in the Senate. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your favorable vote.
All right, members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1129. Any discussion? Chairman Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Madam Leader, do you roughly know what the current balance is on the forum?
I do not know, but I can get it for you,
That'd be
Mr.
great.
Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll get
Thank
it
you,
for you.
Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. Further discussion? Chairman Williams.
Thank you. And that was a part of the question about the remaining balance, but based upon the plans for issuing new bonds for the FedEx Forum, is the ending date, FY 5859, consistent with what the bond issuance is for the new stadium improvements?
Leader Camper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Williams.
So it's the expectation that these bonds will exceed 20 years or 25 years?
Leader Camper.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Williams.
Thank you.
Further discussion, House Bill 1129. Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 1129, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1129 moves to full finance.
Thank you, committee, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Item number 30 on our calendar is House Bill 594 by Representative Garrett. We have a motion second. You have a motion second. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This piece of legislation, House Bill 594, as amended, seeks to move the restaurants in the entertainment district in Metro from being regulated by the Metro Beer Board to the Alcoholic Beverage Commission from the state. And the purpose of this is just the ABC provides more rigorous oversight for that district. So with that, I do realize that this has a fiscal impact. So I believe this is going to be going behind the budget, but I'll be happy to take any questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Representative Garrett. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 594. Any discussion? Hearing Representative Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the sponsor, this amendment, you said deals with just with the business district downtown.
Representative Garrett.
Yes, known as the Central Business Improvement District. It's limited to just that area down in the Broadway area of Metro.
Representative Love.
Okay. And just want to make sure we're talking about that area. There's a school near there, Hume Fogg, and I want to make sure that we put in the proper regulations to make sure that those kids aren't going to be impacted by a less rigorous review of the permits.
Representative Garrett.
No, I would suggest they would be more rigorous, given the fact that the ABC's officers are actually officers rather than just civil officers from the beer board. So they will have more authority to act on anything that might happen in that entire district.
Representative Love.
That's fine. Thank you.
Further discussion. We're on House Bill 594. Hearing none and seeing none, as it has already been alluded to, there is a cost associated with House Bill 594, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 594 goes behind the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Committee.
Thank you, sir. Item number 30 on our calendar is going to be House Bill 612 by Chairman Hawk. 31, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
You have a motion, a second, sir?
Thank you. In the description, this bill will clarify that the Administrative Office of the Courts is responsible for payment of a determination of whether a defendant is intellectually disabled or not under TCA 39-13-203G1. It's an issue we worked on last year, and they've sent us a letter that they are funding that through the Indigent Defense Fund. Chairman and members.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Hawk. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 612. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on House Bill 612, moving on to full finance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 612 moves to full finance.
Thank you, Chairman, members.
All right. That brings us to item number 33. Item number 33. 32. I'll skip 30. Yeah, let's do this one. The fact that I'm just one off is pretty good, actually. So 32, item number 32, House Bill 886 by Chairman Hawk. You have a motion to second. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't want that to be an ominous indicator of this bill right now, but that you skipped over me. Chairman, this is a bill that I've brought every year, and we were fortunate to be able to fund it last year. It's a bill that's dealing with vendors' compensation. You'll remember that we've had the discussion 20-plus years ago. Our retailers who are actually doing the job of collecting sales taxes that have our budget document in such a good shape were historically able to deduct a small percentage of their the sales taxes that they were collecting as a vendor's compensation. It was $50 at one point in time, then it went down to $25, and now more recently it was zero. Last year we were able to put this in the budget document, and I jumped up and down and did cartwheels later on and threw my back out, but that's a whole other story. What we're looking at again is trying to once again put that into the budget document. I'm not sure exactly where we are in terms of what the governor's proposed amendment may look like or the willingness of this committee, but it was so successful last year on a non-recurring basis. I would love to see that again done this year and potentially in years to come. I know where we're going to go in terms of behind the budget, but I want to put this back on our radar screen to have the ongoing discussions that our retailers and the folks that are collecting these sales taxes are great partners, and we need to give them just some way to say thank you in the long run. In a nutshell, that's what this does, Chairman and members.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Hawk. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 886. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, House Bill 886 does have a cost associated with it, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 886 will go behind the budget. Thank you, Chairman. All right. I saw Representative Vital come in, so we're going to jump back to item number 27. Item number 27 on your calendar is going to be by Representative Vital, and you have a motion and a second, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. This bill, 1144, comes on behalf of small-scale independent school bus drivers and contractors who provide reliable transportation to Tennessee schools. Independent school bus contractors transport children in 42 districts. Currently, contractors work for the school districts, pay $250 per bus to register their buses, whereas the county school districts for their own buses pay $5, a minimum of $1.25. This simple bill creates parity for counties where the first school bus contracted by an independent driver would lower the annual title registry fee from $2.50 to the $5 approximately. This bill does not affect all contracted buses, only those used exclusively for academic and school-based athletic activities, and only the first school bus they own. It affects about 50 school buses and would cost about $10,600 in decrease to state revenues. Thank you for that. I would take any questions if necessary.
All right, thank you, Representative Vital. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1144. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 1144, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 1144 goes behind the budget.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. All right, members, we're going to go back to item number 33. Item number 33 is House Bill 792 by Chairlady Hazelwood. Do we have a motion and a second? You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill would simply set up a trust fund to be used to support those people that are, and groups of people that are seeking assistance in the care of children in the state. It's part of an overall Families First kinds of legislation package that the governor put together. We have $100 million as a potential, but that's just a placeholder. We'll be happy to negotiate that number. Upward would be good. We could live with less if we have to, but I do recognize that there is a significant cost here, and so I guess I'm vying with Leader Lambert today for the most bills behind the budget for today.
All right. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 792. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, as the chairlady did state, there is a cost associated with House Bill 792, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 792 goes behind the budget. Okay, that was supposed to have been a lot funnier than what I...
That was hurting my bill with a hug. Like
That was behind the budget with a hug. All right, item number 34 on our calendar is going to be House Bill 794, also by Chairlady Hazelwood. Do we have a motion and a second? We do have a motion and a second. There is an amendment which rewrites the bill, and I have drafting code 005817. Is that correct, Chairlady?
That is correct.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Let's get the amendment on. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, we're now voting on Amendment 005817 on to House Bill 794. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back on the bill as amended. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is a result of work that was done over the summer to look at the Electronic Monitoring Agency Fund, and which has continued to be a drain on state costs versus at one point I think we thought that there would be an opportunity for this to be a revenue source. Again, we spent a lot of time with a lot of different organizations, that the court system, the law enforcement community, and the Department of Safety and the Treasurer, looking at potential best practices and ways that we could make this fund more relevant. There are a number of recommendations that came out of this committee which are addressed in this bill. One of the largest is dealing with the indigency factor. When we did an analysis of the usage of this across the state, there was a wide disparity in how judges were determining indigency. Therefore, many counties were basically utilizing indigency fund for most everybody. Other counties were using it more appropriately. So one of the things that this bill would do is set out some more guidelines and parameters for determining that indigency. But again, Mr. Chairman, there is a budgetary issue with this, I recognize.
All right. Thank you, Chairlady. Members, you've heard the description of House Bill 794. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 794, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 794 goes behind the budget. All right, item number 35, also by Chairlady Hazelwood. It's going to be HJR 132. You have a motion and a second. You are recognized on HJR 132.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This would be the second session for this constitutional amendment to be heard. It would need to be passed by two-thirds majority in both the House and the Senate to then be on the next gubernatorial election. Basically, this is really simple. There's a lot of confusing language because there's arcane language in the Constitution that the AG felt needed to be mirrored in this amendment. But when the state constitution was drafted in 1870, that constitution, the one we're still living under, disallowed state dollars from being invested in anything other than debt instruments. At that point in time, debt instruments were the safest investment out there. That's no longer the case, and limiting the investments of the state to debt instruments, it neither eliminates risk, and the real downside is it doesn't allow the state to make the best risk-adjusted return on funds. Our treasurer has done remarkable work, and his folks, with the TCRS system, which is not included in this prohibition. And because of that, we've been able to literally put billions of dollars into the TCRS system that have not come out of taxpayer dollars, but have come from those investment returns. This would simply allow the treasurer to use those same guidelines for state funds. So again, I know there's a process for these, and I think I've beaten Leader Lamberth today with the third one. But with that, Mr. Chairman, I stand ready for any questions.
All right, Chair Lady, thank you very much. Members, you've heard the description of HJR 132. Any discussion? Chairman Hawk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chair Lady Hazelwood, I appreciate you bringing this. I've done everything I can to try to poke a hole in this, and I can't find any holes in this. So I've had extended conversations with the Treasurer's Office and feel like this is a good direction for us to go, seeing that the multiplying effect of the dollars that we've invested over history, how beneficial that's been to our state budget. I feel like this is a good step and a step in the right direction. So thank you very, very much, Chair Lady Hazelwood, for bringing it. Thank you, Chairman and members.
Thank you, Chairman Hogg. Chair Lady Hazelwood.
What he said.
All right. Further discussion. Seeing none, we will be having a constitutional amendment calendar in a couple of weeks. So, and we will be placing HCR 132 on this calendar. So without objection, seeing none, we are now putting HCR 132 onto the constitutional amendment calendar. So without objection, so moved. All right, that brings us to item number 36. Okay, item number 36, and I think he had to go present another bill. So without objection, we're going to roll House Bill 1036 to the Hill. Without objection, so moved.
Okay, members, item number 37 on our calendar is House Bill 1426 by Chairman Hicks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We do have an amendment for this bill. It is drafting code 4157. Got a motion and a second on the amendment. Chairman Hicks, you're recognized on the amendment.
Chairman, if it'd be all right, we could get the amendment on. It actually makes the bill, and then I could describe the bill as a whole if you want to.
Question on amendment.
Okay, question's been called on the amendment. All in favor of adding the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment goes on the bill. Chairman Hicks, you're now recognized on the bill.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Members, as amended, House Bill 1426 clarifies that sales tax are to be collected for amusement events held at Sports Authority-owned facilities, regardless of whether the operator of the amusement event is a nonprofit organization. When such facilities receive a distribution of state sales tax revenue under state law, in order to allow for impacted organizations to adjust their operations accordingly, the bill includes a grace period until January the 1st, 2027.
Members, you've heard the explanation. Are there any questions, discussion? If not, then we are voting to send House Bill 1426 on to full finance. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? House Bill 1426 moves on to full finance. Item number 38 on our agenda is also by Chairman Hicks. This is House Bill 155. Got a motion and a second. There's also an amendment on this bill. It's drafting code 5160. Got a motion and a second on the amendment. Chairman Hicks, would you like to add this to the bill?
Please.
Okay. Absent objections, all in favor of adding the amendment on the bill, say aye. Opposed? We add the amendment to the bill, and Chairman Hicks, we're ready for a discussion on the bill as amendment.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Members, this is a simple bill with a huge impact. What House Bill 155 would provide is an $800 training supplement for licensed emergency medical personnel who are employed full-time for an ambulance service upon completion of 40 hours of annual training.
With that discussion, explanation, do we have any discussion or questions? If not, then this bill does have a cost, and so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. House Bill 155 goes behind the budget.
Ouch.
Item number 39 on the calendar is also by Chairman Hicks. This is House Bill 961. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Hicks, you're recognized on the bill.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Members, House Bill 961, give you a little bit of context, in 2014, we passed the Brian Burge Act, which allowed for full and part-time employees that work in our TBR institutions to attend one free course consisting of no more than 4 credit hours or 120 clock hours per term at the community college or TCAT at which they're employed, as long as space is available in that course. And unfortunately, this law did not cover the adjunct faculty. So this bill would extend the same benefits offered to other full and part-time employees to our adjunct faculty. And I stand ready to answer any questions.
Discussion on the bill. Seeing none, this bill does have a cost, and so we'll have to place it behind the budget. Without objection, House Bill 961 goes behind the budget.
All right. Members, at this time, there's Representative Shaw. Item number 36. Members, let's go to item number 36. You sure can. Item number 36 on our calendar is House Bill 1036 by Representative Shaw. You have a motion and a second. You're recognized for a brief description.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. This comes from the Treasurer's Office. It corrects a problem that we had in our district. And of course, the amendment make the bill. The member provide that for the local government supplemental plans will comply with the applicable limitations contained in any state law, federal law, regulations or rulings. And of course, the request of the TCR is that the local government shall pay the costs to use these services if they should come available.
All right, members, you've heard the description of House Bill 1036. Any discussion? Hearing none and seeing none, there is a cost associated with House Bill 1036, so we will have to place it behind the budget and consider it at a later date. So without objection, House Bill 1036 goes behind the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right,
I need to go back to another committee.
All right. Chairman Williams.
Thank you, Chairman. Move to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Yes, anything that, let me say before I do drop the gavel, anything that was not taken up on today's calendar will be rolled 1 week. Without objection, we are adjourned.